Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So finally, I get to tell you about what the latest developments in this case that we were looking at. This is Phoebe Bishop, just a teenager, disappeared into thin air, as we know that people don't, do they? People don't disappear. They're always somewhere. Just sometimes it's hard to find exactly where they are. And Phoebe, so there's a lot still that we don't know exact reasons for. But Phoebe, for some reason, had moved out of her mother's house and was living with these two people, a couple, James Woods. I think it's James Woods. Let me just check. It's actually, I'd forgotten about their names. And their names, well, they're important because they've had something to do with what's happened to Phoebe, apparently. But yeah, these were her housemates. So for some reason, Phoebe had moved out of home, was living with these two people who are a lot older than her. She's not even 20 yet, and they are in their 30s. So it's Mr. Wood and Miss Bromley. These are the housemates that have been arrested. So, not sure exactly why she went to live with them, but she did. Apparently, the house was a complete chaos. There were dead dogs found at this house. So this James Woods, he says that they were puppies who got ill. They must have been breeding dogs or whatever. He says they were puppies that got ill, not dogs that he actually killed. But anyway, who knows? I expect that'll all come up as we go along. But basically, it seems like a very strange arrangement, really, doesn't it? That a young girl like this would go and live with these people. I don't know what their connection was. Anyway, that's what happened. And then she contacted her boyfriend. So all this is happening in Australia. She then contacted her boyfriend, who lives in another part of Australia, and said she wanted to come and see him. And she booked a flight to go and visit her boyfriend. She sent a few strange texts, like suddenly out of the blue, to her auntie, who she'd been estranged from for quite a while. We don't know for certain yet whether it was her who sent those texts or whether these people had control of her phone, because we don't know exactly when whatever happened to Phoebe happened. Though it seems like she was taken to the airport by these people. So from what the police are saying now, so she had this flight booked, and these flatmates, they said that they dropped her off at the airport or just before the airport, and that was the last they knew. So I think the last video I did about this has moved so quickly over the last couple of days. The last video I did was Wednesday, and James had been arrested for the murder, or under suspicion of murder. He was then released on Thursday and then rearrested later that day, and on the same day Phoebe's remains were actually found. So it all moved very quickly. It seemed like the police were looking for Phoebe for quite a long time, and then suddenly everything seemed to happen all at once. So that's what we're going to talk about, and going to give you the details that I've got so far. As I say, it's just the beginning of an investigation. But it seems that they did take Phoebe to the airport, but not right up to the airport. It's like something happened in the car. Anyway, we're going to look and see what the police are saying about it. Now, whether Phoebe was in that car and she was alive or not is another question. But it seemed, the car was seen going to the airport. So, was Phoebe alive, or was she in that car already unalived? These are the things that we've got to find out, I suppose. Anyway, first of all, I want to say thank you, of course. Thank you for being patient. I've wanted to update this since the news came out yesterday, but yesterday was a day, just one of those days. And then by the time it came to the evening, and I was going to talk about the developments, I didn't want to do it while I was tired, and I wouldn't do Phoebe justice. Phoebe deserves attention. And I did, I wanted to do it fresh. And you know me, I'm a morning person, not an evening person. So I know it's probably a little bit early for some of you. Because here in Spain, where I'm based, if people don't know, it is 8:40 a.m. and that means that in the UK it's 7:40 a.m. and of course it's probably it's evening time in Australia, though. I think early evening, is it? Anyway, so here I am to talk about Phoebe. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for caring about Phoebe. Thank you to those of you, quite a few of you sent emails and messages to say that Phoebe's remains had been found, because a lot of, people have cared all over the world. I mean, sometimes, cases come up when a teenager disappears under mysterious circumstances like this, there's been interest not only in Australia but all over the world, because as we know, people don't just disappear, do they? So thank you for caring about her. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, especially if you want updates. Subscribe is important for updates, and don't forget to press the notification bell. Thank you to my members. Special thank you to my members. Thank you to those of you who are so kind and generous, who've sent me, bought me Ko-fis or sent super stickers or PayPal me. And thank you to everyone who's contributed positively to my channel in whatever way you do it. Thank you so much. Now then, let me take that banner off now. And I've said my thank you. So, big hello to my lurkers. Hope you're all well. A big hello to all the replay crew who aren't up early enough to watch it, but will be watching it later. Thank you for watching. And let's have a look. Has anybody made it to chat this morning? Oh, yeah. Hi, David. You're up early. Hi, Tracy. Tracy's always up early, isn't she? Hi, Darren. Yeah, it could be the motive. Who knows? But anyway, hi, Darren. Hey, Tracy's got two job, Tracy. Hi, Dottie. Thank you. Yeah, God bless Phoebe and her family. Her family, you just can't imagine. Anyway, it's ironic because just when we did a video, when I was talking to you about this case, and we watched Phoebe's mum make an impassioned sort of what's the word, press conference. I remember saying, gosh, it did feel like she wasn't really very hopeful that Phoebe would be found alive. So, it just felt, quite often families will come out and talk about hope, and they even though maybe the odds are against it, they try and keep that hope, don't they, right till they find out anything different. I did feel with Phoebe's mum, she did come over that she'd almost, because she was talking about her in the past tense, and some that can mean all sorts of things, of course. With perpetrators, that means that they're thinking of in the past tense because they know exactly what's happened to them. But of course, with Phoebe's mum, it was just that it's almost as if she'd resigned herself to the fact that Phoebe would not be found alive, which is very, very sad. And so believe it or not, so all the trolls have been out there. You know what they're like, them trolls that lurk under that. They're the horrible lurkers, not my lurkers. My lurkers are maybe that's what I should call lovely lurkers. There are different kinds of lurkers. There's evil lurkers, the trolls, and there's lovely lurkers like my lurkers. So lovely lurkers, maybe that's the name that I need for people who watch but don't engage in the chat. The chat isn't for everyone. They've all been on at Phoebe. I mean, I just think, what sort of mentality does somebody have that the only comment they can make to a mother who doesn't, whatever, a mother who doesn't know what's happened to her daughter is probably not alive. What sort of mentality do you have to have then, that your only comment is going to be, oh well, the mother, it was, what did they say? They said she didn't do very well in the press conference. She's not there for performance stars. Do you know what I mean? She's there because her daughter's missing. And anyway, she's responded and said, well, what was I supposed to say? How do you even know what you would say? Because, nobody knows how they would react until they're in that situation. And please God, hope to God, I'm never in that situation. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Angel. So, very sad outcome. It's sort of, you do always have hope. But the thing is, obviously once she hadn't arrived, when it was shown that she hadn't caught a flight, and, where was she? Anyway, it seems that the police believe that she was taken to the airport. As I say, I don't know whether they think she was taken there alive or deceased. But maybe something happened in that home that we're going to, it's a horrible, if you think your house is a mess, like I always think my house is a mess, even when it's not that bad really, but I just seem to be constantly tidying it up, with having 3 dogs. But gosh, I felt better after I'd looked at this, as far as my house is concerned. So living in squalor, really, in disarray, Phoebe, with these strange flatmates who, as I say, are a lot older than her. So what was the connect? I mean, it could be, I don't know if Phoebe was taking any substances. It wouldn't be the first time that a young girl had a young person had got led astray by things like that. That's always a possibility, because you just wonder, what was her connection with these people? How did she end up living with them? Because they just seem so different, I mean, I don't know Phoebe as a person, but I'm just about the age difference, really. That's so let's just have a look at an article about this. Let's see. Let me share. So bless her, fly free Phoebe. I mean, I hope she's at peace. Well, she'll be at peace, perhaps now that they've been arrested, and also now that her remains have been recovered. Because that's the other thing, just discarding. It's just something. This is the horrible couple that have been. I mean, they're innocent until proven guilty, of course. But these are the ones that have been arrested: James Wood and Tanika Bromley. Arrested and charged with murder. So, as I say, the last video I did, James had been arrested, but he was released immediately, more or less the next morning, without charge. But then later that day, Phoebe was found. And I think actually they'd already been both been arrested before Phoebe's remains were found. It may be that they said where her remains were. I don't know. Maybe that one of them cracked. I don't know what led the police to the exact point of where Phoebe was, because of course they were searching a great big national park. It was like a needle in a haystack. So poor Phoebe, so she had her life taken from her. She was literally on the threshold of becoming a woman. I mean, she was a woman, but she was a young woman. She still had a way to go, didn't she? She was finding her way. I mean, for teenage years are so difficult. So many young people, they just get lost, don't they, in their teenage years. I don't know what goes wrong. I've seen it happen. I've had it happen in my family. And if you're lucky and they're lucky, they come back. It's like when they go into these teenage years, it feels to me like they go into this sort of netherworld, like everything, the way they were when they were a child, it's all gone almost, or it can be. I mean, not all teenagers go through it. Some teenagers sail through being a teenager, I suppose. Well, I doubt if any of them sail through it, but some have harder time of it than others, don't they? And there's so many different reasons for that. They can get involved with the wrong crowd, they can start taking substances, they can start drinking alcohol, they get bullied at school, maybe they're not happy with their relationship with their parents, maybe their parents are absolute twonks, so many reasons. But for teenagers, it's such a confusing time of life, isn't it? Because you're not a child anymore, but really you think you're not. And of course, the thing about being a teenager is you think you know it all, don't you? I remember it clearly. I still think I know it all, but now I really do know it all. Whereas when I was a teenager, I just thought I knew it all. No, I'm sorry, I'm only joking. But yeah, you do, don't you? You're right in everything. Nobody understands how you feel. Your parents know nothing. They're just, all your friends then start to become so important, doesn't it? Your peer group, everything that matters, it's all about them. Your parents talk a load of rubbish, and if they say anything about your friends, to maybe say, oh, just be careful with them or whatever, it's like it's their fault. They don't know anything about these people. These people are great, and it's your parents. But I wish teenagers did realize, and I don't think they do realize, myself included, that your parents are the ones that will stick by you no matter what. Because these friends that you think are brilliant, they don't stick by you. They just don't, especially if they're teenagers as well, or like these people, because they're only interested in themselves. That nobody will be as interested in you as if you've got decent parents, even if they're not. No parents are perfect. Nobody is a perfect parent. But if you've got half decent parents, they will always put you first. And I don't think you ever realise that until they've actually gone, do you? So there she was, Phoebe. Had some problems, obviously, living with her mum. I don't know what was going on there. Relationships between teenagers and their parents are difficult. So she disappeared on May the 15th. But now Queensland police say remains have been found near Gingin in the search for missing teenager Pheobe Bishop. The remains are yet to be formally identified, but investigators are in contact with Phoebe's family. Well, it's definitely going to be Phoebe, isn't it? And Phoebe's mother, Kylie Johnson, posted to social media after the discovery of the remains, saying, "This is ripping me apart." And you know what? If they had a difficult relationship, that'll be even harder for Kylie. Because, if you had a difficult relationship, if you had a difficult relationship with your child, your teenage child, and then they went missing, and then that must be even worse, because you're going to feel, I mean, I don't know what happened, why Phoebe left her mother's home. Maybe they did have an argument, and maybe her mum did throw her out. So how's her mum going to feel now? Going to feel worse if they had it. It's again, no, I mean, you can't imagine throwing a teenager out who was going through problems, but they're hard work. They're hard work, and some people believe in tough love, don't they? Personally, I don't. So I'm not very good with tough love, unfortunately. I'm all right, soft touch, but that's the way I am. Sort of, don't know about tough love. I think the thing is, when teenagers need support, for all they might, say horrible things to you, do horrible things, tell you they hate you, or God knows what, because there's all sorts of things that can go on with teenagers. They need your support. even though sometimes they don't deserve it, it feels like it's like, you know, because you always love them. You might not like them when they're going through the teenage years, but you'll always love them because they're your child. So, and I do think teenagers need support more than anything, even though they don't even know. Hi, IS. I don't want to say hi, idiot. Hi, Margot. Yeah. Yeah, and hi, Bluebell. I think that has been, you know, I had a student that was a psychologist, and she said, you know, young people's brains do not develop properly. Boys 25 before their brain, you know, the two hemispheres come together, and then they start thinking more what we would call logically. And girls, it's younger, 22. But before that, it's like, you know, might as well wipe out whatever they do, because they don't understand consequences. They don't see things in a normal way. Well, I say normal way, you know, in an adult way. I know on Judge Judy, she always says they're not cooked yet. It's true. It's like, so all the time, all the hormones are racing, and the brain is actually changing. So once you get to boys, with boys it's 25, girls it's 22. Once they get to those ages and their brains start to, then it's still another few years before they start to, you know, think more logically. But they literally do, you know, that is a physiological you know, statement. It's not like just, there's a reason why, like with car insurance and things like that, you've got in Spain 25, you've got to be 25 before you can be put on car insurance, like, because in Spain your car is insured. So my car, anyone over the age of 25 can drive my car, because the car is insured for everyone over the age of 25, but not under the age of 25. You've got to pay, you know, massive amounts for that, as I think is probably typical in most countries. But there's a reason for that, you know, because people under 25 are likely to have more accidents because they take more chances. You know, they're not so, they don't think about consequences so much. So let's have a look where Gingin is. It's an interesting name, isn't it? So Gingin, this is Gingin. Now this is where the airport is in Bundaberg, and this is where Phoebe has been found, in this Gingin area apparently, which is not that far from the airport. So bless her. So going back to that article, police say they have found what is believed to be human remains in the search for missing Queensland teenager Pheobe Bishop. And Queensland police said the discovery was made on Friday afternoon near Goodnight Scrub National Park near Gingin. So we had a look at that park, didn't we, in a previous video? It's a lovely name, isn't it? Goodnight Scrub. The 17-year-old has been missing since May the 15th. So she's a young teenager as well, you know, 17. I mean, she's literally, you know, 17. Gosh, you think about when you were 17. For me, I mean, I was just, it was all about enjoying myself. As I say, I thought I knew it all. I do remember that. Going out all the time, totally disregardful of my parents, and you know, like just thinking, they don't know anything, you know, just they were just useful for lending me money at that time, really, as far as I was concerned. You know, I'm not proud of it, but I think that's pretty typical. I mean, I wasn't a terrible teenager, you know, I wasn't off doing drugs and you know, robbing or all the things that teenagers do, or disappearing for days. I wasn't doing that, but I wasn't a respectful teenager. Definitely not. I was very disrespectful. You a bit contemptuous of, I mean, there were issues. The thing is, there's always issues in every family, and there were issues in my family, just like everybody else's. So there was resentments, there was all those things, which maybe one day I'll write a book about that. But, ultimately, like when I look back now, my parents did the best they could. That's all parents can do. I think, sometimes people expect too much of parents. There's no handbook. And then you're dealing with whatever issues you've got as a parent. Maybe there's financial issues for you, or health issues, or it may be relationship issues between you and your partner. There's so many different things, that can make parenting difficult. There is no perfect parent, 100%. And I think people don't realise that until they're parents themselves. So you end up with this sort of simmering resentment towards your parents, don't you, about things, and not only little things, big things sometimes that happen. But I think as you get older, you do start to see, at least, I mean, I'm not talking about terrible things that your parents do to you. I'm talking about, also, well, they are terrible at the time, of course. Anyway, without going into the details, I can't say. But what I'm saying is, I think as you get older and you have children yourself, you start to understand a bit more about the difficulties of parenting, and then why maybe your parents did certain things or took certain choices that you didn't agree with at the time. So James Wood and Tanika Bromley were charged with 1 count each of murder and 2 counts each of interfering with a corpse. Now, what I want to say is, apparently the police believe that Phoebe's body was moved twice at least. This is something they've said as well. So while this search has been going on for Phoebe, the police believe that they've been moved twice. So, Oh, Margot, and you're saying you're going to see Morrissey in Manchester. My dad worked with Morrissey's dad. Right, let me get that right in my head. When my dad worked at Bupa in Manchester, he worked with Morrissey's dad. Yeah. Just a bit of waffle, bit of waffle there. Right, where was it? Oh, yeah. So these are the ones that have been arrested. These are the flatmates. Does it say how old they are? I know they're quite a bit older than Phoebe, because Phoebe, of course, is so very young. So the brief search commenced after further inquiries and investigations today, with the discovery being made by specialist units around 2:30 p.m. The remains are yet to be formally identified. However, investigators are in contact with the family of missing 17-year-old Phoebe. Now, I think this is the arrest of James that we're going to watch here. Look at this house. I mean, honestly, it makes my house look minimalist.
Just listen to me. Dette sagde bare noget sikkert igen. Basically, I'm restaurant sort of Pheobe Bishop.
So this is the second time he's been actually arrested, but this is the first time. I think it's second time, might even be the third time. But this is the first time he's been charged with Phoebe's murder. So both him and his flatmate or girlfriend or whoever, they were charged with weapons offences, because in that car they found weapons, one of which I think was a sawn-off shotgun, or it was a sawn-off gun, they said, an altered gun. So they were charged with that and they were on bail for that. But they hadn't been charged with Phoebe. So he must have been thinking, because he'd only just been arrested the day before and released. He must have been thinking, oh, they got nothing here. And then in they swooped again for whatever reason before they found Phoebe. So there must be a reason. I wonder if they then got him to the police station and the other woman, and then confronted them with maybe some evidence that they've got. And one of them, do you think one of them might have cracked and told them, perhaps the girl? Because she's probably going to say she's not the one that shot Phoebe. If Phoebe was shot, I don't know that Phoebe was shot. I shouldn't say that. But just because there were firearms in the car, I'm assuming that. I mean, that'll come out with the autopsy. Let's just watch this one more time.
Just listen to me. Jeg decided bare at være sikker igen. Facing in a restaurant og så Pheobe Bishop.
So, obviously, it's so very sad that Phoebe's, has been found deceased. But at least she's been found, and also at least these people now are in custody. So earlier on Friday, so before they found the body, now maybe they found it themselves, maybe it wasn't a tip-off, but earlier on Friday, Detective Inspector Craig Mansfield said police expected to find her body in the Greater Gingin area. And he said, we are suspecting we may locate Phoebe, but it is a broad, unforgiving area that we're trying to narrow down, he said. And Detective Inspector Mansfield said police will allege that her body was moved more than once. A crime scene has been declared at the location where the remains were found, and forensic examinations are continuing. And police are continuing to appeal for any information in relation to Phoebe or the movement of a grey Hyundai, is that an I or a 1X35, between May the 15th and 18th in the Greater Gingin area. So between the 15th and the 18th, this is the car. So police are appealing for dash cam and CCTV footage of this grey Hyundai. They've even got your number plate on there. So if anybody's out there in that area and they think they might have dash cam footage or door cam footage or whatever, this is the car and this is the number plate, 414. Is it EW or is it EW3? So Phoebe's mother, Kylie, posted to social media after the discovery of the remains, saying, "This is ripping me apart. I didn't think my heart could break any more than it did when you went missing or when the charges were laid. But this is ripping me apart." Yeah, I think until it's actually confirmed, isn't it? Even though they've been arrested for murder, I suppose as a loved one, your family member, you still wouldn't want to believe it, would you? You couldn't believe it. It must feel completely surreal. Now, let me think. Where are we? I mean, she's been missing for quite a long time, Phoebe. So I don't know if her mum's been allowed to see her. Quite often what they do is they'll give the loved ones a lock of hair, won't they, or something, because sometimes, just unfortunate reality is because of if someone's been lying for a long time, they just you can't see them, you can't actually go and see them or hold their hand or whatever. So that's what she's dealing with. That's awful, isn't it? You know, awful, awful, awful. Because you can't even go and, you know, you give them a last farewell at the funeral, I suppose. But, you know, you can't give them a hug and a kiss. You know, just there they are gone. And as I say, if they did have a difficult relationship, Phoebe's mum will feel worse than if they'd had a fantastic relationship, because you would, you know, because maybe your last memory is of having an argument with them. You know, that would be even worse, wouldn't it? So a candlelit vigil will be held in memory of Phoebe on Sunday afternoon, with the community encouraged to wear bright colours and butterflies. This vigil is a way of our family acknowledging Phoebe's impact on our community, their efforts, and the importance of a community that cares. So, of course, all the community, a bit like with Samantha Murphy, they were out there helping to look for Phoebe. Miss Johnson said on social media earlier on Friday. I might try and find her social media, actually. Let's have a look. Aye. Very sad. Very sad. Let's see if I can find her social media. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I've just... an article's just come up saying, you know, and I was saying about the connection. What's the connection between these people and Phoebe? Because you just, you know, there don't seem to be people that would, you know, they're different ages, etc. What's the connection? Why did she go there? Why did she go there? And a post just come up that might be relevant to it. In fact, I'm going to show you that post first. So, was Phoebe Bishop's...
Detectives say the weapon is unrelated to Phoebe Bishop's disappearance.
Tanika, do you miss...
Was Phoebe Bishop's accused killer once her support worker? Oh my God. Support worker? Gosh. So maybe that is what their connection was. Anyway, let's have a look at this video.
The bushland search for missing teenager Phoebe Bishop has been suspended.
Bearing in mind, this is before the remains were found.
As police re-intensify their appeal for information about her housemate's car. Tanika Bromley chose to ignore our questions about the mystery when she reported to police today as part of her bail conditions.
Covered by a hood in a car park usually reserved for police only, Tanika Bromley was sporting a new look as she reported for bail under a barrage of questions.
Tanika, do you know what happened to Phoebe? Tanika, do you have anything to say about the guns police say they found in your car?
The 33-year-old, who bills herself as a support worker, was released from custody yesterday on bail after police allegedly found a shortened shotgun in her car.
Oh my God, so she's a support worker. So is that a possibility? Is that where the connection comes? That she was, well, we don't know, but I just saw that literally. So I thought you might be interested in seeing the video. So it was her car that the sawn-off shotgun was found in. She was on bail for weapons charges, but of course she's been arrested for murder now.
While searching for the missing teenager, detectives say the weapon is unrelated to Phoebe Bishop's disappearance.
Tanika, do you miss Phoebe?
A search of the flatmates' Gin house, also home to Tanika's partner James Wood, unearthed more questions.
Why were there dead dogs found on your property?
The police search of the Goodnight Scrub National Park has...
Yeah, apparently 11 dead dogs were found on that property. But he says they were puppies that died. They were ill when they were born and they died. Yeah, well, you know, I don't know.
Now been suspended, but the home here in Gin once shared by Phoebe Bishop, Tanika Bromley and James Wood remains a crime scene 13 days after the 17-year-old vanished. Detectives still focusing on the movements of Tanika's Hyundai, spotted this week with altered plates in Bundaberg.
Why does your car have different number plate?
Questions she
Oh God, they'd altered the number plates as well. Oh, these are going to be these thickos who think they're clever, aren't they? They're going to be, you know, they probably planned it all out. Yeah, we'll change the number plates. We'll take her right up to the airport and say, oh, we dropped her off at the airport. But there's no CCTV of her actually entering the airport. But did they drive all the way up to the airport and say, oh, yes, she has to be dropped off just short of the airport? This is going to be one of those cases, thickos thinking they're cleveros and, you know, just making a total cock-up of everything, thinking they're cleverer than the police.
He declined to answer. 10 is not suggesting Bromley or Wood are involved in Phoebe's disappearance. Matt Johnston for 10 News First, Gin.
Yeah, so don't forget that was before they were arrested for murder. So, but they're just saying that like as a disclaimer. Let's just watch that again. That's interesting, isn't it? Changed the registration plates. That's you know.
The bushland search.
If someone changes their registration plates, that is a little bit of a red flag, isn't it? Where's my red flag? Definite red flag. Someone changes their number plates. No, Angel, they're not released now. They were released originally, but they're arrested now. They're in prison now. They're charged now with homicide. So they will have been released because there wouldn't have been enough evidence. But of course, now that they've got Phoebe's remains as well, then, you know, that changes things, because up until then, they didn't actually know, I suppose, for certain, even though the police suspected she probably wasn't alive. You know, the body makes a big difference, doesn't it? Although people can be, in this day and age, you know, people do get prosecuted for murder, even if the body's not found. You know, it's better, obviously, if they find the body. So, we'll see. Right, sorry, let's carry on with that.
Search for missing teenager Phoebe Bishop has been suspended as police re-intensify their appeal for information about her housemate's car. Tanika Bromley chose to ignore our questions about the mystery when she reported to police today as part of her bail conditions.
Covered by a hood in a car park usually reserved for police only, Tanika Bromley was sporting a new look as she reported for bail under a barrage of questions.
Tanika, do you know what happened to Phoebe? Tanika, do you have anything to say about the guns police say they found in your car?
The 33-year-old, who bills herself as a support worker, was released from custody yesterday on bail after police allegedly...
That's a funny way to put it, isn't it? He said she bills herself as a support worker. Gosh, is this going to be like a sort of a Myra Hindley, Hindley and Brady and Hindley situation, where thing is it's always easier to find victims, isn't it? Same with Fred and Rose West. When it's a couple, there's girls are more and boys are more likely to trust a woman, aren't they? You know, if that James Woods, he is a bit scary looking. If he sort of came up, tried to get you in his car or come and stay at his house, you'd be like, oh my God, no thank you. But yeah, sometimes people get inveigled in by couples, don't they? Just the way he said she bills herself as a support worker. Had she built up a relationship with Phoebe, and then Phoebe thought she could trust her, and then she's gone there, and that, you know, and she couldn't trust her. She's maybe these are like, you know, the Wests, that kind of couple. Do you know what I mean?
They found a shortened shotgun in her car while searching for the missing teenager. Detectives say the weapon is unrelated to Phoebe Bishop's disappearance.
Tanika, do you miss Phoebe?
A search of the flatmates' Gin house, also home to Tanika's partner James Wood, unearthed more questions.
Why were there dead dogs found on your property?
The police search of the Goodnight Scrub National Park has now been suspended, but the home here in Gin, once shared by Pheobe Bishop, Tanika Bromley and James Wood, remains a crime scene 13 days after the 17-year-old vanished. Detectives still focusing on the movements of Tanika's Hyundai, spotted this week with altered plates in Bundaberg.
Why does your car have different number plate?
Questions she declined.
Does your car have different number plate?
Questions she declined to answer.
Does your car have different number plate?
Questions she declined to answer.
Why does your car...
Look, they painted it, look. So the E they've made into a P. Oh my God. They painted it though. Let me just see that again. So yeah, they're
With altered plates in...
Look, the 1 to is that trying to make that look like a 7? The worst. Look. Oh my God, the 3 changed into an 8. Dear, oh dear. Like you say, David, this is Davido sort of. At least Davido did get real number plates put on his car, different ones. At least they were actual number plates, didn't just paint them. Good God.
in Bundaberg.
Why does your car have different number plate?
That's as clear as anything. It's been altered. The E's been altered to a B, and the 3 has been altered to an 8. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you know, it's so, these thickos, it makes you so angry. They just like, that poor girl. Oh my God. It just almost seems worse when it's thickos. I don't know. Hi, Pamela. Oh, Tanika worked. Hi, Kerry. My God, just, yeah. Ooh. So no wonder the police have been suspecting her for so long. I think the only the reason the police held out so long, like releasing them and that, is they were hoping they would lead them to her remains, weren't they? So the police are saying they think the remains have been moved at least once or more than once. So the police have obviously been watching them for, you think they would have caught them while they were moving her, really. But anyway, I don't know, I suppose, wouldn't they have had a constantly following them? I don't know. Or maybe they split up, like, so can't follow both of them. I don't know. But this is ridiculous, isn't it? This is like, I'm a bit speechless about that. How did they ever think that that would fool anybody? I mean, all right, maybe from a distance on CCTV or whatever, but, once you can see that as clear as anything. Oh, God, just speechless. But anyway, there you go. Just, in true crime, you just think, no, this is why once you start following true crime, you can't go and watch these programs on the telly like the dramas, because true crime, just what you think that nobody would ever do or think of doing, you cannot underestimate anyone or think, like sometimes think, oh, surely no one would do that or they wouldn't do that. They would. People do the most ridiculous things, the most horrible things. And, this is an example of it. You just couldn't believe that somebody would do that. If you put that in a crime drama, and you shit on, even on Midsummer Murders or somewhere, some sort of just like a crappy drama like that. And then you had the perpetrators going out painting their bloody number plate. You'd be like, no, nobody would do that. Nobody would do that. Well, they did, thickos.
Questions she declined to answer. 10 is not suggesting Bromley or Wood are involved in Phoebe's disappearance. Matt Johnston for 10 News First, Gingin.
Yeah, as you say, Angel, went to Poundland for craft supplies. Certainly doesn't look very... I am literally speechless at that. Oh, so somebody's put here, Tanika wasn't Phoebe's support worker. Tanika worked within Phoebe's mother's support services. Tanika was once a support worker working with vulnerable people. See, and then someone said, oh, the mother has a lot to answer for. So there's been a lot of attacks on the mother, which is not right, I don't think, because the mother hasn't killed her. Maybe she's not a perfect mother. Who's a perfect mother? I'm sure, you know, I'm not a perfect mother. I haven't done everything right with my son. You know, I don't think if anyone says they're the perfect parent, you're a liar. So then somebody's come on and said she worked alongside Phoebe at her mother's business. So, well, I dare say the truth will come out sooner or later. Now, let me go back to, because what I was originally on here for was to find Kylie's social media. So, oh, there you go. The GoFundMe's up already, $17,000, and that'll be. Let's have a look at the GoFundMe. There's always a GoFundMe. Oh, it says 2,000 there. Where is it said before that? Anyway, in loving memory of Phoebe Bishop at raising awareness for missing persons. On May the 15th, our world was shattered when Phoebe Bishop, a bright, kind-hearted and deeply loved young woman, was taken from us far too soon. Her life was tragically cut short, and those responsible are now in custody. After speaking with Phoebe's family, we have decided to honour her memory in a way that reflects the compassion and light she brought into the lives of so many. This GoFundMe has been created as a way for our community to donate and support the services, like the SES who volunteer. You know, I mean, it's brilliant. The search and rescue services do need donations, but, you know, I'm always very cautious of this. Who's the recipient of this money? Will it go? You know, I don't know. You know what I'm like with GoFundMes. I think they're good things. To me, I'd be, you know, if you were doing a GoFundMe, it would be for a funeral, surely, because, you know, I doubt very much that there was any. Hey, shh. I doubt very much that there was any funeral plan in place for Phoebe at her age. So, yeah. Anyway. Stop it. So let's see what else it says. We would also like to be able to donate to the Y School in Bundaberg on Phoebe's behalf, where Phoebe thrived from their support and guidance. Phoebe had a gentle soul and a generous spirit, always caring for others and standing up for what was right. We want her legacy to live on, and by paying it forward to the amazing volunteers and community. All funds raised will be donated to these carefully chosen community groups that work to support our wide Bay community. Well, there you go. People have made donations. At the end of the day, it's not to me to tell people what to spend their money on. If they want to donate to this, fair enough, and I hope it finds its way. I hope it finds its way to the right people. Sorry, someone's shouting outside. That's why the dogs were barking. So this is more than a fundraiser. This is a tribute to a beautiful life and a call to action to protect the most vulnerable in our communities. Please donate if you're able and share this campaign so we can make a real impact in Phoebe's honour. Let us come together in grief and in hope to ensure Phoebe's light continues to shine. With love, Phoebe's family. And some nice pictures of Phoebe there. And the organizer is Tracy Berens. I don't even know who Tracy is, but never mind. That's a funny photo. Oh dear, so this girl has had a lot of life robbed from her. 17 years old. You know, she's lost. It's like when you take someone's life, you are stealing their life. And when you take a very young person's life like this, that's a long life that you're stealing, isn't it? Oh, I wasn't sharing, sorry. Here we go. This is the fundraiser. Oh, you know what I'm like with sharing. Hi, Kerry. I'm in Spain, but I'm from the UK. Yeah, Kathy. I did a video about that last night about the Cole Cooper. That's another very sad case. But anyway, I don't want to speculate about what happened to Cole, but I think it's significant that they say he was found in a wooded area. But I did do a video about that yesterday. So, sorry, I'm just having a little look at the chat. I know I hate sharing. I'm always forgetting to share. Anyway, I read it out to you, but you can see it now. You can actually see it. And these nice photos. And so, of course, this is Phoebe with her mum, Kylie. And we're going to have a look at Kylie's. So Kylie's getting a lot of troll comments, which I think is unfair because we don't even know all the circumstances anyway. So, and why troll someone? Her daughter's deceased, for God's sake. I just don't understand it. But there you go. That's what people like to do, isn't it? They like to have a troll. So, let's see what other post she's put on there. She put a cover. Let's go back to, so we're back on Kylie's. That's a nice picture. I just don't know how you function. Honestly, you know, when it's bad enough when they're missing. And this is what she said. I didn't think my heart could break any more then than it did when you went missing or when the charges were laid. But this is ripping me apart. And that was a response to the Queensland Police Service saying that they'd found. Let's have a look. Let's read the actual police report. Yeah, this was the actual police's update. Police have located what is believed to be human remains. And it says the brief search commenced after further inquiries and investigations today. I wonder if one of them came out with the location. Because once they arrested both of them for murder, I wonder if they've started now, accusing each other. And the discovery was made by specialist units around 2:30. Crime scene has been declared at the location and forensic examinations are continuing. Yeah. Let's go back to the comments. Oh, I want to go back to Kylie's page. So yeah, this is it Saturday. So Kylie said, "This is for our amazing community. Honestly, we have received calls, texts, so many messages of support. Like most rural families, we are resilient, proud and strong, but this has brought us to our knees like no drought ever could. The vigil is a way of our family acknowledging Phoebe's impact on the community, their efforts and the importance of a community that cares. For those reasons, this is an important part of a community's healing. While we don't have Fee home to put to rest just yet, our community needs the healing process to start." So yeah, on Sunday, if you're in the area, obviously I can't go because it's quite far away. But I may, if it's filmed, and maybe I'll cover it. If they take any videos or anything. So this Sunday on the 8th of June, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Australian time, of course, Colan Community Park, Mulgrove Street, Gingin. A community candlelight vigil in memory of Phoebe. Please wear bright colours and butterflies. So, oh, this is Phoebe's sister. Let's have a look. She was trying to help, obviously, to find.
I don't know what to say. If you've got any information about Phoebe or Carl or anything like that, just come forward. 3 weeks is too long for us as a family and all of our friends. We just want a home. And yeah, she was loved. She's missed dearly. And yeah, I don't know what to say. If you've got any information about Phoebe or Carl or anything like that, just come forward. 3 weeks is too long for us as a family and all of our friends. We just want a home. And yeah, she was loved. She's missed dearly. And yeah.
So seeing Phoebe's sister like that gives us, because obviously we've only seen photos of Phoebe. I haven't seen any videos of her yet. There may be some floating around social media. But it gives us more of an idea of, Phoebe, how she was. She's probably quite similar to her sister. Your whole family just torn apart, Here we go. So this is where she announced, please know that we as a family were told this minutes after I posted my post. Our world has just been shattered into the most horrific place I've ever been. I need my baby home to put her to rest. I'm absolutely begging anyone that knows anything to come forward. We need to put her to rest. We need to put her to peace. So this was the statement she put out after the police said that they charged 34 and 33 they are, those James and Tanika. Yeah, double Phoebe's age. And Phoebe probably went to stay with them thinking she would be safe for whatever problems she had going on, thinking she would be safe there until she went off to see her boyfriend. And she wasn't safe, was she? Horrible, horrible people. Say horrible people. Of course, they're innocent till they're proven guilty. Let me just have a look at this. Yeah. So just going to remember to share this time. So this was the police site when they, I think I might follow them in a minute if I can find them. 34-year-old man and a 33-year-old woman. And up to they've been charged with murder. They've been charged with 1 count each of murder and 2 counts each of interfering with a corpse. So the police think that Phoebe was moved at least twice because they've charged them with 2 counts of interfering with a corpse. June the 6th. So they must have appeared in the magistrate's court yesterday. Yeah. So there's a family out there. Oh, bless. There's a family out there really struggling. I mean, they're not the only family, of course. There's lots of families, unfortunately, seem to struggle, don't they, because of all the missing people, and it's quite scary, isn't it? For me, I have to put a shield sometimes because the more you look into, missing people, etc., just so many, and such young people, and they go missing for so many different reasons, don't they? You know, sometimes they take themselves away from their families for whatever reason, because maybe they've got mental health issues or etc., etc. Sometimes they're taken away, like Phoebe, who seems to have come to foul play. There's so many. Sometimes it's an accident, isn't it? Sometimes families lose their young people because of accidents, car accidents, you know, drowning accidents. Also, you know, it's terrifying, really, isn't it? Hi, Daniel. Right, Kathy, I'm just gonna. This is the video that I did yesterday about Cole. I think just to give you the link, but it's on the channel anyway. But yeah, I think for Cole again, his family, what they must be going through now. You know, they've been looking for him for quite a long time, and they've unfortunately got the worst possible conclusion, you know, to what happened to their loved one. Terrible. Very, very sad. So yeah, you have to hug your loved ones a little bit tighter, don't you? You know, that's what we all need to be doing every day. And you do, you know, when you're, you know, like when my son, when he goes out, just don't know when they walk out that door, do you? You don't know, you know, and you don't know where they're going, really. That's like my son says, oh, I'm going to wherever to meet my friends. But from there, they go to all different places, you know, and they, my son doesn't drive, but his friends, some of them drive. I don't know if they've had a drink before they go off to these other places. There's some quite dangerous roads around here where there's loads of accidents, you know, and things. So, you know, your heart's in your mouth, but you have to switch off from it. But what can you do? You cannot, you know, you can't stop them from going out or living their life. You just have to hope they're sensible. And I do think my son is sensible, but you never know, do you? Okay, I just want to show you this police video of the home that they were living in. As I say, it makes me feel like Housewife of the Year. And this is from The Project, their Facebook.
Family have been pleading to know what happened to their girl. Today, the case took a tragic turn, with police just moments ago announcing a grim find.
Phoebe Bishop.
Body cam footage showing the moment Queensland Police arrest Phoebe Bishop's housemate James Wood for her murder. Fellow housemate Tanika Bromley facing the same charge.
Detectives have arrested a 34-year-old male and a 33-year-old female overnight for the murder of Phoebe.
Bromley and Wood also facing separate charges.
Yeah, my son is a big lad, but you know, sometimes he gets picked on for that, you know, because when you get these little shits, I mean, it does happen, it's happened quite a few times, get these little shits sometimes out there that, you know, that Jack's a bit of a target, you know, because he's tall. I mean, God, we went shopping yesterday to the supermarket together, and I just feel like an absolute midget next to him. It's not often that we're out together, like walking around somewhere like that. And I just looked up at him, and I said, oh my God, you're just so tall. You know, he stands out. I mean, 6'5", so he's exceptionally tall, and I'm exceptionally short. So, you know, you wouldn't think I was his mum, but sometimes he gets picked on for that. He does sometimes get picked on because for being tall. So when you get someone who's like, you know, had too much to drink and they're in the mood for a fight, he quite often they'll come and try, you know, to get him involved in a fight. But he doesn't get involved in fights. Having said that, he doesn't put up with any crap either. He deals with it in a better way, thank God. But you just never know, do you? Just don't know. You don't know if, you know, these young people these days seem to carry knives and God knows what weapons, for God's sake. You know, when I was young, I've seen loads of fights, but it was rarely with a knife. I have seen somebody go for someone with a knife on on the all-night bus once, but I've seen lots of fights in Manchester. When I was brought up in Manchester, I was often out, and on the late night bus, there was always a fight of some kind. I've seen some horrible things, really, but I've never seen a stabbing. Look, oh no, I did see a stabbing actually once. Oh, here we go. I'm going to start waffling now, but this was nothing to do with going out. I was on my way to work, and I was on a bus going to work when I worked at the Social Security in Manchester, in Russian. And that's, you know, dealing with people's gyros, you know, people that were unemployed, etc. And I was on the bus, and the bus was going through Moss Side, not Moss Side, but anyway, not far from Moss Side. Anyway, a bit of a rough area, let's say, where this office was, where I was working. And a woman got on the bus with her son, with a child. I think they were on their way to school. She was on the way to take him to school, probably. And she was trying to pay the bus driver with a load of change. So she obviously didn't have, you know, I've had to do that sometimes. When you've not got any money left, you have to get all the pennies out of your, you know, or all the change out of your piggy bank. And she was trying to pay the bus fare with a load of change. And the bus driver, to be fair, he was horrible to her. He was horrible to her. He made her, this is a real waffle, actually, so get ready for this. He made her feel terrible in front of everybody. He was saying to her, oh, this is not legal tender. Anything over £1, any change over £1 is not legal tender. I don't have to accept this. Blah, de, blah, de, blah. Anyway, in the end, he did accept it, but not before he had shown up this woman in front of the whole bus, basically. The bus was packed. God, those days when I used to have to get on packed buses, thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Anyway, off we went, and then we got to, must be her stop, where the school was. Bearing in mind she's taking her kids to school. And she puts her child off the bus. I think he was about 7. I don't really remember how old the child was. But she goes, you know how the buses have the doors at the front where people get on, and the orange buses in Manchester. And then you've got the doors in the middle of the bus where people get off. So the driver opened the doors and she put her son off the bus. And then she got back on the bus at that door, walked up to the driver and stabbed him in the eye with a pair of scissors. Literally stabbed him in the eye with a pair of scissors. Now, we didn't, us on the bus, we didn't really realise what had happened at first. So she just goes and gets off the bus, then gets her son, takes him off to school. This bus driver is sat like with his hands going like that. She's fucking stabbed me. And there's blood coming out between his fingers. Now, bearing in mind, I was only about 19 at the time. So I was absolutely traumatized. Well, I think anybody who would saw that would be traumatized. And yeah, he was vile, this bus driver. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He had been horrible to this woman. Oh, but there's more to this story. So, my God, when I think about it, what an eventful life. I could have put this in my book. So he's there. Anyway, we all get off the bus. I'm just round the corner from where I worked. It wasn't my bus stop, but there was only another 1 or 2 bus stops to go. So I decided to start walking, just get away from there. And then the police are coming and all that. So that's all going on the bus. I go into work to my office, the Social Security office, and I used to do appointments. So I'd interview people and they wanted their gyro, or they were saying they had a change in their circumstances or whatever. First thing, I get in there and that my boss says to me, right, you've got an appointment this morning with this woman. I even remember her name. Her first name was Rose, but I won't say her surname because I don't want her coming and stabbing me in the eye with a pair of scissors if she's still alive, because she was a lot older than me. But anyway, this woman's coming in to talk about she was on, you know, on an order book. She was a single parent on an order book. And you've got to keep her talking until the police come, because she stabbed someone on the bus this morning in the eye. She stabbed a bus driver. And it was this woman was coming in for an interview with me. And I had to keep her talking until the police arrived. She had because then it was before computers, so everybody's files were like in folders. She had a folder like that. You know, she was what you'd call a professional claimant. You know, she'd never worked. She'd always been on whatever they called it then, income support or whatever. So she walks in, this woman. Oh my God, I'm just thinking, well, I hope she don't recognise me from the bus, but obviously she didn't. She was too busy stabbing the bus driver. And she sat down and we started talking. I'm just trying to interview her about her claim, whatever her claim was for. I can't remember. Until the police then arrived behind her and arrested her and took her off. Oh God, talk about coincidence. I'm actually there on the bus when she stabs this bus driver. And in she walks. I remember as clear as day. I remember a very, you know, you won't forget that person. I mean, obviously, this is years ago. I was 19, so you talk about 40 years ago, but I can see her face in front of me as clear as day. And yeah, he was vile, the bus driver. He was completely vile, but still, you don't stab someone in the eye with a pair of scissors when your son's there as well. I mean, she did have the decency to put her son off the bus. Yeah, then come back and stab him in the eye. Now, I wasn't scared she would do, I was scared she might do so, but she couldn't because, so I should clarify, when you were interviewing the claimants, there was a glass panel between you. So we were like sat in a booth with a glass panel in front of us with just a hole at the bottom so you could hear them. In the end, they did take away those panels. Don't know if it was glass or plastic. But in the end, they did take away those panels. But at that time, so no, I didn't feel that she could get me, because those booths where we used to interview people, they're almost like prison booths. You know, you're sat on one side of the perspex, I think it was. They're sat on the other side, so they can't actually get at you. You know, because there was a lot of, you know, working at the Social Security, there was a lot of arguments, let's say, you know, could be quite scary. But anyway, so sorry, just going, why did I even start talking about that? I don't know. Oh yeah, talking about when people go out and, you know, young people these days, you think, you never know, young people carry knives, don't they? Machetes, all sorts of things. Scary. Anyway, let's just watch this and then I've got to...
Charges of interfering with Phoebe's corpse.
We will allege that Phoebe was moved more than one occasion.
And do you believe one of those occasions was at the Goodnight Scrub National Park, or at least...
That's what we'll be alleging.
Missing since May 15, the 17-year-old failed to board her flight to WA to see her boyfriend. Her flatmates claim they drove Phoebe from the derelict house they shared in Gin Gin to Bundaberg Airport in their grey Hyundai SUV. But CCTV footage shows Phoebe never entered the terminal. Police have since declared both the car and the Gin Gin home crime scenes.
3 people arrived near to the airport and 3 people never exited that vehicle.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it, if Phoebe was in the car but she was already deceased and they just drove up to the airport just so that they would get picked up, you know, on CCTV driving to the airport. Bit like Stefan Stearns with Madeline Soto, isn't it? Drove to the school with Madeline in the car, trying to pretend that he dropped her off at school. Another thicko.
During the 3-week ordeal, Phoebe's mum making an emotional plea.
We're appealing to anyone with any information that may help to bring Phoebe home to contact the police.
With her remains yet to be found, Phoebe's family is desperate for closure.
3 weeks is too long for us as a family and all of our friends. We just want to home.
Oh, there's Kaylia again. So yeah, I think looking at Kaylia, you can imagine Phoebe, can't you? How awful.
Our world has just been shattered into the most horrific place I've ever been. We need to put her to rest. We need to put her to peace.
10 News First reporter Matt Johnson has been covering this incredibly distressing story. He's with us now. Matt, there's been some breaking news in the last half hour. What is the latest?
Yeah, well, just a few moments ago, we've received confirmation from police that during another search of the Goodnight Scrub National Park, where we saw police focused on so much at the beginning of this investigation, late today they have found what are thought to be human remains and what are thought to be the human remains of Pheobe Bishop. Now, in their confirmation to us tonight, they have said that that information was a result of investigations today and new information that came to light. We know
I think one of them has definitely cracked. Probably the woman, but you don't know. Maybe the man. I don't know. I bet they've been blaming each other.
That forensic testing will still have to be done to confirm whether these are indeed the remains of Phoebe Bishop, but police at this point in the night seem to be very confident that that is exactly what they have tragically found.
Matt, the suspects were charged last night. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, they were charged and appeared in court briefly this morning via a video link from a remand cell, and that really is now where they're going to stay for the foreseeable future. In Queensland, you can't apply for bail on a murder charge, so unless they go to a Supreme Court, really. So the only option for them is to remain in.
Well, that's good. Yeah, in Queensland, you shouldn't be able to get bail if you're being charged with murder. You just shouldn't. But anyway, there you go. So they can't. So they'd have to go to the Supreme Court. Oh dear. I wonder if Phoebe, when she went to live there, if she knew him before. Just looking at this man and the woman, I'm getting these Fred and Rosemary West vibes.
Those cells for the foreseeable future. There's a lot of evidence that still needs to be looked over, particularly with this latest development tonight. But then you add in the car of Tanika Bromley, the house that the three housemates shared in Gin Gin, which, as we've seen in all those images, was just piled high with rubbish. It was absolutely squalid. So there is a lot for police to sift through. This is really just the beginning of this investigation.
Now, we saw those emotional pleas from her family.
Was just piled high with rubbish. It was absolutely squalid. So there is a lot for police to sift through. This over, particularly with this latest development tonight. But then you add in the car of Tanika Bromley, the house that the three housemates shared in Gin Gin, which, as we've seen in all those images, was just piled high with rubbish. It was absolutely squalid. So there is a lot for police to sift through. This is really just the beginning of this investigation.
Now, we saw those emotional pleas from her family. It's obviously a devastating day. Do we know how they're doing?
Well, just a few moments ago, actually, Phoebe's mother, Kylie Johnson, has taken to Facebook. She said she didn't think that her heart could have broken any more from when she was first reported missing to the arrests last night. But she says now this is absolutely ripping her apart. We know there will be a vigil of sorts in Gin Gin on Sunday afternoon. That would already have had to have been an incredibly sombre experience to be part of on Sunday afternoon before this latest development. So one could imagine being there on Sunday afternoon would just be incredibly devastating.
Such a terrible story, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us.
No problems.
Okay, so yeah, very sad, but at least Phoebe's been found. I'm glad she wasn't left out there for like Samantha Murphy, who still hasn't been found. And at least the people who allegedly did this are in custody. So, but like he said there, the state of that house, can you imagine how much evidence has got to be processed? That reminds me a bit of the Madeleine Soto case, and the state of his car and the state of the house. So much evidence that has to be processed, isn't it? So all that has to be processed. It's going to take ages and ages. But yeah. It's going to take a lot of police work, isn't it? Anyway, at least they're in custody. That's the main thing. I hope if there are any dogs on that property, you know, live ones, hope they're being looked after. Yeah, poor Phoebe, poor family. Yeah, I know Bluebell, but you know, in this day and age, a lot of families now, don't they? They go on social media, don't they? Lots of them. You know, social media is just what people seem to do. I think it depends on you, you know, how you are generally on Facebook. You know, so if generally you're a person who on Facebook share your life practically, I think they then go on and on Facebook will do the, you know, talk about things, or the same with Twitter or whichever social media they use, or TikTok. You know, everyone, but I think if you're not a person who would do that anyway, put your life on there anyway, you know, most people, a lot of people just use Facebook. I use it for work, really. That's about it. I don't go on Facebook so much these days because I'm always on YouTube. But yeah, I suppose each their own. But anyway, there's a lot more to come out, isn't there? Okay, I've got to go. I've got some stuff I've got to be doing. I may see you later, but I just wanted to update you about Phoebe. Thanks for caring about Phoebe. Rest in peace, Phoebe. And all of you, take care of yourselves. Till I see you again in the next video. May your God go with you. Bye.